Murder robots. Murder robots. Cupcake murder. Oh, Chuck E. Cheese always smells like feet. Like, how can you eat pizza when everything smells like feet? It's like pizza. It smells like pizza. Well, hello and welcome back to Booze Reviews, where I, Aunt Boo, drink some booze and I review movies. Well, if it isn't my ex. Just couldn't stay away, could ya? For those of you who are new here, my very first boyfriend was named Josh, and he keeps just popping up in the form of wine all over the place. This one was gifted to me by my sister, so thank you, Dana, for the very enabling and thoughtful gift. This is a Pinot Grigio, and I have to say, out of all of the Joshes, this is probably the most Josh, or the Joshest, the Joshiest. I usually do B-roll of the wine pouring, but I have a little summer activity going on upstairs in my house, meaning my kids are not in bed. They probably won't be for a couple more hours, but once again, they do have another caretaker in the house, so don't get all judgmental. They have a father, believe it or not. So Josh, he just keeps finding his way back into my life. Josh, give me some of that Josh. And I'm not mad at it because it's pretty good wine. Like I said before, it's easy to drink. This one is nice, cold, and crisp for a hot summer evening such as this. I didn't mean to rhyme that. It's pretty mild, it's kind of sweet, and it's very white. How white is it? It's so white that it's currently taking a gap year. It's so white that it bites its lip when it dances like this. It's so white that it pronounces it pillow. And milk. It's so white that it shops at Whole Foods. It's so white that it doesn't recognize its own privilege. And it feels safe around cops. Commentary. Didn't you miss it? I know, it's been a minute. It's been a minute since we've had a glass of wine and roasted a movie together. It's summer. I got the kids at home. I got my hands full. But I am committed to bringing the quality entertainment. I just want to give a heads up to those of you who started following me after my baby reindeer review. That was a bit of a departure from how things normally go around here. Normally there's a lot more jokes. And normally I don't really like the movies all that much, but Baby Reindeer, that was something. So the past couple of reviews, they've been a bit heavy. You know, I felt like they were serious movies that deserved serious consideration. And so I wanted to give them the proper review that they deserved. Things got a bit heavy. That was so heavy. And so I just wanted something fun and light and not serious at all for my next movie review. So I asked you, the people, my beloved fans, subscribers, that's what they're called. So I took a poll and I was willing, guys, I was willing to watch Howard the Duck for you. I'm still going to, by the way. I'm still going to watch Howard the Duck. But I thought animatronics, you know, we want some puppetry in here. We want to keep it light and breezy. What's more light and breezy than robots? I can't think of anything. So you guys voted, and Five Nights at Freddy's it is. So we watched Five Nights at Freddy's. Fuck this movie. Five Nights at Freddy's came out, I believe, in October of last year. It's 2023, running time of 1 hour and 49 minutes. It was directed by Emma Tammy, and it was written by Scott Cawthorn, Cuddabatch, I don't know, and Emma Tammy. And it stars Josh. It stars Josh Hutcherson. I'm gonna call him PETA. Piper Rubio, Elizabeth Lail. It also stars Matthew Lillard. And oh look, it's Mary Stuart Masterson. Mary Stuart Masterson was in Fried Green Tomatoes. Like, and Benny and June, remember that? Oh God, what the hell are you doing in this movie? Matthew Lillard, I understand, okay, I get that, but you, come on. I was so excited to watch this movie. I even made up a song about it because I was excited to get away from the serious content and get into the murder robots. I was like, murder robots. What better thing to start off my summer with than murder robots? Murder robots. I was like, murder robots. Murder robots. And then I found out one of them was a cupcake, like a robot cupcake that murders people. I was like, murder cupcake. And then I watched it. For those of you who didn't grow up in the 80s, you only know Chuck E. Cheese as Chuck E. Cheese, but Chuck E. Cheese actually bought out a franchise called Showbiz Pizza. And when I was a kid, and I would go to birthday parties at Showbiz Pizza, they had the scariest animatronics that you will ever see in your life. 10 times worse than the murder robots at Five Nights at Freddy's. No contest. These things did not need a backstory. They didn't need any sad B-plot. All they needed was to exist when I was a child, and I would look at them at any given birthday party that I would go to at Showbiz Pizza and think, yeah, this is how I die. This is how I get murdered, by these things right here. I would just see them and like deduce that they would come to life and fucking kill me, right? Because these are murder robots. And these things, there was a gorilla and a bear, and there was like a little bear that would, even when they weren't singing, even when the rest of the band was shut down, this little bear would poke its head up out of the trunk and like look around and then like slowly descend back into the trunk as if he was scouting out who to murder that night. So yeah, childhood nightmare fuel, murder robots. Sign me up for this shit. I was excited. Going into this, I thought, this isn't hard work. This is super easy work. You had one job, director and writers of Five Nights at Freddy's, and that was just murder robots. That's it. That's all they had to do. What the f is this shit? What did I just watch? Who is this for? All right, I'm getting ahead of myself, I know, but it's because I'm pretty pissed off. Because how do you mess up murder robots? I'll tell you how. First of all, this didn't take 5 nights. You could have done all this shit in one night, considering that one of the nights that they were locked inside of Freddy's? They had the fort. They made forts with the murder robots. In all of my nightmares about the Showbiz Pizza animatronics, I never once thought, you know what I'd do if these things came to life? I'd make a fort with them. Never crossed my mind. Now look, I'm going into this not knowing jack shit about Five Nights at Freddy's. I shouldn't have to. I know as much about Five Nights at Freddy's as the couple of times that I've walked inside of a Hot Topic, okay? I don't know about Five Nights at Freddy's. I don't know the lore. I don't know the video game. But I can tell you this much. I've seen movies based on video games, and some of them turn out great. This one of them, okay? This was not one of them. I know it doesn't look like it, but sometimes I want a salad. You know, sometimes I don't want a full heavy meal. I just want a salad. That's how I felt after such heavy content past couple of reviews, right? Just want like a light salad. And this movie was like somebody tied me to a chair and force-fed me a Thanksgiving dinner, but like a bad Thanksgiving dinner. So like Thanksgiving at my in-laws. So it's like you go to a buffet, you know, and you eat all that shitty food. I was like, I don't want this. I don't want all this shitty food. I wouldn't pay $12 for a plate of this food. Why would I pay $12 for 10 plates of this food? Again, I know it looks like I just, you know, will go eat at a buffet. Shut up, your mom's fat. The vibe of this movie is like the ASPCA commercials with like Sarah McLachlan, but with murder robots. Not enough murder. And frankly, the robots, they weren't that scary to me. They could have been a lot scarier. They should have been a lot scarier. Okay, so who was this movie made for? I still have no idea. No, I do. I know who this movie was made for. This movie was made for 13-year-old girls. Here's how I know. Evidence one, PETA. 13-year-old girls loved PETA. Josh Hutcherson is not, am I saying his name right? Who cares? Josh, I'm a little drunk already. Josh Hutcherson. Josh Hutcherson. God damn it. That is hard to say. Josh Hutcherson. I'm just going to say it like that. Josh Hutcherson. I'm going to say it like Fire Marshal Bill. Josh Hutcherson. Shit. Josh Hutcherson is not a bad actor. It's not like he's fantastic. He's no Jennifer Lawrence, but he's not terrible. But he's so one note in this movie. He's just like mopey. Okay, let's get into the plot of this movie. And by the plot, I mean the B plot, B standing for bummer. Because when he's not at Freddy's, he's at home being a big, fat bummer. So Josh Hutcherson, PETA, he is a security guard at the mall. He runs down some guy he thinks is abducting a kid, beats the shit out of him, but it's the kid's dad. So, you know, he gets fired for that. He ends up going to the world's worst employment office with the world's worst headhunter. And Matthew Lillard is like, what did you say your name was? Well, I have a job for you. And then he sends him to Freddy'S, which is to be the night watchman at Freddy'S, this rundown, abandoned Chuck E. Cheese type of place where the robots come to life and murder people. I can't even believe that I'm explaining this shit turd of a movie. I know shit turd is redundant. So is your face. So the reason that PETA had such a strong reaction and jumped the guy that he thought was abducting is because he feels responsible for his little brother's abduction. He keeps dreaming about it. He doesn't sleep well. He's trying to lucid dream enough to figure out who kidnapped his little brother when he was much, much younger. But he still feels responsible. Anyway, they never found his little brother. I told you this is a bummer. Are you ready for this? This is like a Dateline episode with a Lifetime movie because he has custody of his little sister because something happened to the parents. I guess the mom died and the dad, they kind of hint that the dad like himself. And I mean, what the f? Is this for kids? Is this a kid? Did my kids play this video game? What the f even is this? Okay, so he ends up going to Freddy's. He's about to lose custody of his little sister. And I think they imply too that she might have autism. And you know, whatever. I have a child with special needs. I think they were kind of baiting with that. They didn't come out and say that she had special needs, but they said that she's kind of different. She doesn't really communicate. She draws a lot of pictures. Anyway, he goes to Freddy's, starts working there at night, and oh, he's in a custody battle with fuck me. So he's in a custody battle for his sister with Mary Stuart Masterson. She is the aunt who wants the sister for money. How's she gonna get? I don't understand that part. Like I said, I don't. It's the most completely unnecessary part of the movie is the whole custody battle. So, so he starts working at Five Nights at Freddy's, and you think, okay, great, this is where the murders start to happen. No, he has just a bunch of stupid ass dreams about children who look suspiciously like all of the characters in the animatronics. Wait, what's happening? Where am I? Summer, it turns me upside down. This is off the rails. This is getting off the rails real fast. Here's the thing. I think they're trying to make it like real deep. But look, you can't have it both ways. You can't have weirdo murder robots reminiscent of everyone's childhood nightmares and this Lifetime movie stuck inside of it. The is this? That's why I think it's made for 13-year-old girls, because only 13-year-old girls would think that this is deep. I'm like, oh my God, this is such a deep movie. Now look, I was a 13-year-old girl, and I would have thought this was the best movie that I've ever seen had when I was 13. So there's a policewoman who comes by every night and kind of checks on the place and checks on him. And I can't figure her out at first. She's kind of like, she's kind of sincere and then not. It seems like she's there to murder him as well, but then she kind of flirts with him too. And then he brings his sister one night because he doesn't have a babysitter, because it's the only good part of the movie. Because the aunt hired the babysitter that normally watches the sister to spy on him. And so they need to get him fired so he completely loses custody of the girl. And so it's a bit convoluted. Try to keep up. And so she sends the babysitter in with a couple of her thuggish teens, hooligans, street youths, and they get eaten by the murder robots. And this is the best part of the movie because you're like, yeah, finally some scary action, some good murder from the murder robots, right? But you don't see any of it. You don't really see any of the murder. All of the real grotesque stuff takes place off screen. And then you hear some stuff, you see some shadows, you kind of see a piece of leftover body. I mean, there's a murder cupcake that eats somebody and we don't get to see it? That should have been just one night right there. One night. That should have been the first night. And then from then on, it's just nothing but murder, right? That every night should have been like that. And just keep adding and piling up the bodies. God, is something wrong with me? No, there's nothing wrong with me. I just was like, if this is a scary horror movie, it came out in October of 2023, like right around Halloween, and it's supposed to be like, ooh, then it should scare me. And instead I was like, my God, I need a Lexapro after this. Josh with the Lexapro chaser. I don't know. I lost track of how many nights they were there. I guess it was 5. Who cares? Because like I said, one of those nights they were playing and making a fort because he brings his sister one night. Okay, never mind. So he brings his sister one night. They all play with the police officer and they figure out that these murder robots actually are controlled by the man who abducted them. These are the ghosts of abducted children.
Guess you figured it out.
Ghost children possessing giant robots? Thanks for the heads up.
Guys, we need help.
I'll give you one guess who abducted these children.
So, I will catch you on the flip side.
Hopefully.
Even the robot with the patch over its eye could see that plot twist come from a mile away. No shit. That's the only other person of importance, right? And so, yeah, these robots murder people because they're controlled by the person who abducted them. They are the ghosts and carcasses of abducted children. Are you f***ing kidding me? No. No, that's not necessary. This is too much. This is too much. It's too much. We don't need, like I said, I was like 6 or 7 years old, my first birthday party at Showbiz Pizza, probably younger. I knew. I didn't have to know there was ghost children inside of the robots. I just figured those robots would kill me at some point. You don't need all of this other story to go on. You just need some stupid teenagers to keep breaking into the place and get eaten by the murder robots. That's what the entire plot should have been, okay? We didn't need a kid's sister. That's bullshit. We didn't need Matthew Lillard. The is that guy doing in it? We didn't need this whole other abduction plot. Didn't need insomnia. None of this. We didn't need any of this. We needed robots that eat people. Oh, and here's the best part. Here's the best part. Matthew Lillard is the dad. So Matthew Lillard is the bad guy who abducted all the children, including Josh Hutcherson's little brother. And he ends up being the police officer's dad. And so in the past, she has sort of looked after Five Nights at Freddy's and made sure that, you know, whoever was in there was definitely going to get murdered. I don't even know how. So there's daddy issues in this shit too. It ain't got to be that deep. Josh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But if I didn't have you, I couldn't get through this movie. I get that it was a video game. I get that there's a whole lore. There's the whole Five Nights at Freddy's lore surrounding Five Nights at Freddy's. Again, we've seen movies made from video games. But you can do that. But this is like if It's just like if they took Donkey Kong and made him like an alcoholic who was losing custody of his kid, and then made him lose his job, and then, you know, made him impotent. I don't know. How much more shit can you cram into a movie about murder robots? At the end of the movie, I guess he turns it so inside of the robot costumes are traps, and that's how the kids get trapped in there. Like Matthew Lillard would go abduct them, stick them inside the robots, and then like they would trap them in there, and so their bodies and souls were trapped in there. And but then the little girl like draws a picture and shows it to all the kids right before they murder them, because he comes and makes them all turn on them. It's not worth describing. It's really not worth describing. But then Matthew Lillard ends up getting caught in his own trap, and he ends up inside of the, what is it, the Golden Bunny. I don't even know who these idiots are. And I guess by the law of this movie, his body and his soul are now stuck in the murder robot. Is he dead towards the end? It kind of leaves it on a cliffhanger. Please, God, do not make another one of these movies. And if you do, can we have more murder? Can you say a little more murder in it? That'd be great. It's a total bummer, and I don't think anyone should watch it. I think it sucks. I think whoever greenlit this was counting on the fact that it has an inherent fan base. But look, if a movie has an inherent fan base because of the video game or the books or whatever, the comics, whatever, that's fine. You can stay somewhat true to the material, but it should be able to stand on its own as a good movie, and this is not. This is way too convoluted a plot. This is a bummer to watch, and again, it doesn't have, it's too much. It's too much. And it's trying to be too much. That's what pisses me off about it even more, is like, it's trying to be deep, you know? It's me in junior high. I really wanted to just see the robot cupcake just take a big ass bite out of someone. It's like, eat someone. Like that. I could watch an entire movie about that. But even my 16-year-old who watched it with me was like, this is the stupidest movie I've ever seen. Why is it like this? I'm like, I don't know, son. Somebody must hate fun. And that somebody's name is Hutcherson. So, I think that's it. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, not time for Freddy'S.